Good evening, Europe, and good morning, America. Thank you for signing in to this exciting webinar. So my name is Thomas Rex, and I am the CEO of Speakers Club and the co-founder of Elevate 20XX, which is, as some of you might know, the biggest personal leadership seminar in the Nordic region. For the next 45 to 50 minutes, I will be talking to one of my big heroes, Marianne Williamson. And Marianne is one of the biggest spiritual leaders and role models, I think, in the world. I'm sure many of you will agree with me, and even more of you after this speech tonight. And she has written a number of books, and correct me, Marianne, afterwards if I'm wrong. I believe you've written 12 books about personal leadership and spiritual leadership, and I think that actually 7 of these have been on the New York Times bestseller list, and I believe 4 of them went #1. It's amazing. It's huge numbers. And so Marianne is actually a regular guest at Oprah, a show I'm sure many of you have seen or occasionally. And this November she will come and join us in Copenhagen at the Elevate 2015. At my heart event, and I'm really honored. I truly am. So Marianne, a huge and warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great to have you. So Marianne, I have prepared some questions, and I'm really look forward to this occasion to talk to you. Initially, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to define the concept spirituality. Would you mind? Because I know that for some Danes and Norwegians and Swedish people who are listening in, this concept might be a little bit fuzzy and unclear. Would you mind?
When I think of spirituality, I think of the path of the heart. And the path of the heart may or may not align in our lives with the path of the mind. And the mind, when it is separate from the heart, when it is separate from love, when it is separate from forgiveness, is separate from its true self. Freud defined neurosis as separation from self. So spirituality posits that the love in us is the authentic truth in us. Now this is very different from the training of the world. The mental training of the world is a training in the perspective that dominates the planet. But A Course in Miracles, which is a book which I'm a student and from which I teach and lecture, the Course in Miracles says that the mental consciousness, the mindset of the world is dominated by fear. And fear is not the path of the heart. Fear is the emotion that we go into in the absence of love. So enlightenment is an unlearning of the mental perspective, the mindset based on fear, and the acceptance instead of a mindset based on love. And that is the spiritual path. The spiritual path is going through situations, recognizing that in every moment we make a choice. Sometimes we make it consciously and sometimes we make it unconsciously. That it's either to face life and to face people, to face everything we're going through with an open heart, with a forgiving attitude, really being present in the moment, or we are out of conscious contact with that, and we are blaming, we are judgmental, we're living in the past, or we're living in the future, we're bringing negativity, we're not bringing the fullness of ourselves, we're not merciful. And depending on the mental mindset, it's like an aperture of a camera. It's either open, letting a light come in, or it's closed. And the light in this case is love. And that love invites good experiences, positivity, abundance in money, in relationships, and intimacy. But if we are closed down and we're not allowing the love to flow, then we're in all those negative places: anxiety, depression, despair, anger. And so it's like 2 parallel mental universes, 2 parallel emotional universes. And spirituality to me is walking the path, taking responsibility for my thoughts, my attitudinal musculature. Just like you hone your physical muscles, you hone your mental, emotional muscles, so that you live from a different place and you have a completely different experience of life.
Thank you very much. Wow, that definitely clarified some things for me also. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is it? What would you say was important if you want to work with your spiritual leadership? Why? Where do you start? Could you give me a few examples on where to start? Because I know when I'm out speaking to people and I'm touching the concept of spirituality, so a lot of people, they go totally, in their eyes, that you're losing them, and they go, so how do I start with this, Thomas? I mean, how do I get started? Could you give a few tips to how to get started on your spiritual journey?
Well, there are two levels on which to speak. The first is recognizing how you're experiencing the world and taking responsibility for your experience of the world. Looking over your own mental landscape. Where am I judgmental? Where am I defensive? Where am I selfish? Where am I attached to the things of the world? Where am I living in the past? Where am I living in the future? And starting to recognize, having some self-awareness where you yourself are putting out some negative thoughts. And once you realize that thought is the level of cause and that our experience of the world is the level of effect, then you stop being so surprised why you're depressed, really. Now, having said that, much of that is easier said than done.
Yeah.
So the Course in Miracles says that the thought system of the world, the thought system of fear, is so thick that you can't get out of it without some help. But the teacher that the Course in Miracles is talking about is the internal teacher. It's like each of us has a direct radio link to what in Christianity, in Judaism, in Course in Miracles is called the small, still voice for God. In Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12-step programs, it's referred to as conscious contact. It doesn't matter the words we use. The idea is that there is a radio link to the voice of higher consciousness inside us. The problem with the world is that there's so much static in the radio that we're not in touch with that. And the modernity, the assault of modernity is so great in our lives. Too little time spent often with the things of nature and the sort of natural universe. Too much time spent with stimulus in the modern world. I don't know how it is in your country. We're told it's less terrible in your country, but I don't know. I know how bad it is in ours, and just the stress and the craziness and the freneticism and the upset and the fear.
Yeah.
So when you wake up in the morning, you take a shower, you take a bath because you want to purify your body of yesterday's dirt. But if you don't meditate in the morning and you don't reestablish contact with true self with a capital S, through meditation, through prayer, through some serious spiritual practice, then even if you wash your body, you're still carrying yesterday's stress. Right. And you're not just carrying your stress. You're carrying the stress of refugees from Syria. You're carrying stress from Afghanistan and Doctors Without Borders, so that you are so at the effect of the chaos of the world that, number one, you yourself can't find your inner peace, and number two, you yourself can't help the great revolution, the holistic revolution going on the planet, where you yourself are joining in that resonant field of alternative consciousness whereby the chaos is transformed. So the revolution, the holistic revolution of consciousness that not only is taking place today, but must take place today if humanity is to survive and thrive, is one in which we recognize that the preparation of our internal vessel is as important as anything we do externally to work on worldly circumstances.
I totally agree. So I can hear from you that you also apply meditation, and you use it in the mornings, just when you wake up? I'm
a student of A Course in Miracles, and the workbook of The Course in Miracles is 365 days worth of exercises. I also do transcendental meditation. Yeah. In my belief, as I think for many of us, there's only one truth, spoken with a capital T truth, but it's spoken in many different ways. Yeah. There are religious statements of ultimate truth, spiritual statements, secular statements. I mean, it's not about words, it's not about belief, it's about experience. So whatever we find that is our path to really the practice of forgiveness, the practice of honing those internal muscles to be able to be in a more loving rather than fear-based place. So I'm a student of the Course, but the Course isn't for everyone. if it's for you, you know it, but I speak that language because that's where I can best express myself, and people can translate however they would.
No, thank you very much. So once you have gotten all this clutter and noise and cloud away, and you start opening your heart, then you can start focusing on bigger, more important goals in life and how you can make a difference. That's also part of spirituality, wouldn't you say? That whole purpose thing.
But what's happening is something more profound than just, well, I focus more positively so I can have more abundance in my life. Something much more profound is going on here. We're talking about actual alchemy within brain chemistry.
Yeah.
It is really, literally, you know, if you actually read science now, it's not just like two parallel universes. It is two parallel universes. You know, they're talking now about multiverses, right?
Yeah.
So there is a universe of truth, solid fundamental truth, where all is harmonious. And then there's a universe that the mind can manufacture where situations are chaotic. So you make a decision with every thought you think. The Course in Miracles says all thought creates form on some level. So you're either dwelling in a universe of psychological, emotional, and material chaos, or you are dwelling in a universe of harmony and peace. So by definition, in the world of harmony and peace, the idea here is that the universe is intentional. So just as when the sperm and the ovum come together and cells emerge and they form a brain and they form a spleen and they form a liver and they form a heart, and there's an embryo there and the embryo becomes the baby. Nature, every cell is imbued with a natural intelligence. So that natural intelligence turns embryos into babies. That natural intelligence, by whatever name we give it, turns acorns into oak trees. That natural intelligence turns buds into blossoms. Mm-hmm. The idea here is that that same natural intelligence is at work within us spiritually, and it is leading us to the highest level of creative possibility and manifestation in our lifetime. So by definition, if we allow that natural intelligence that works through the cells of the body to work through us, then we are led into, guided into whatever situations would be the highest manifestation of possibility, the highest joy, the highest abundance, the highest good. Yep. Now, what happens in the physical body, of course, is that every once in a while, a cell in the body, for reasons that we do not fully understand, that science does not fully understand, I think metaphysics does, disconnects from its natural intelligence and decides that it doesn't want to serve the healthy functioning of the liver or the lungs or the pancreas. It wants to go off and do its own thing. That's called cancer. It's a malignancy in the body, but it's also a malignancy in consciousness, and that is what has happened to the human race, that we have been infected with a malignant consciousness. And that is the consciousness where I think it's all about me and building my own kingdom, rather than realizing I'm here to collaborate with other cells in order to serve the healthy functioning of the whole. And as long as I do allow myself to be guided by that thought, to be grounded in that thought through prayer and meditation, then I'm naturally going to collaborate with other people in situations that lift all people and all sentient beings involved to the highest level of abundance and peace. It occurs naturally.
Yeah. And I know you have been involved in a number of projects over the past many years to really make a difference for a lot of different group of people. And can you talk to us a little bit about what drove you to do this, and how did you get started? Because this is something I'm really trying to teach a lot of our followers in Speakers Club. You know, the whole thing about having a purpose where it's about changing someone else's life or doing something for other people. And I know this is one of your big calls. You've always been doing this. Could you inspire us a little bit about that, please?
Well, if what we're talking about here is how to live from love instead of fear, then how do you ignore the sufferer? How do you ignore the starving child? How do you ignore the fact that we are destroying the planet? How do you ignore the reality of global poverty? How do you ignore the terrible cruelty and terrible violence that occurs on the planet, to the extent to which you can affect any solution? And those of us who live in the advanced, democratic world, those of us in the Western European countries, those of us in North America and so forth, we have, I believe, the responsibility of global citizenship. Mm-hmm. Our countries are significant. Our continents are significant in terms of the way the world goes. if the advanced Western nations simply decided, that we would eradicate global poverty within 10 years. We would eradicate deep poverty within 10 years. So you can see that this motion is occurring. Now, I believe those of us on a spiritual journey should be the biggest grown-ups. We should not be the children over there in la-la land. We should be the most sober and mature grown-ups. And I think that if you have a clue as to what transforms one heart, you're the one who has a clue as to what would change the world, because all that nations are, all that a civilization is a collection of individual beings. So I feel strongly that those of us in the transformational community, higher consciousness, spiritual growth, personal growth, recovery, and so forth, have a lot to contribute to the larger world conversation. And you can tell when people speak on the larger stage with an understanding of these issues. They're code words where you can get when people are coming from a more conscious place. It's pretty exciting.
I'm looking so much forward to having you over here and to talk to you about some of the projects that I'm involved in. I really do, and to hear your opinion. Meanwhile, I'd love to hear, Marianne, from you, which of our many challenges we have globally right now, which of these that worries you the most?
Well, there are so many stress points that add up to an unsustainable probability vector. If it was only the fact that 1 billion people on the planet live on $1.25 and less a day, if it was only that 14,000 children are starving a day, if it was only the scourge of terrorism around the world, if it was only our irresponsibility towards the planet and climate change, if it was only nuclear proliferation, it could be argued that if it was just any one of those or any two of those, that, okay, we're on it, we can handle this, we can absorb this. What's happening today is that there are too many major stress points happening at the same time. And it can be argued that civilization as we know it is falling apart at the seams. Now, we can't just always be, what we're doing now is we're always in reaction mode, trying to fix this, trying to fix that. But most of what we call fixing it is really kicking the can down the road for our children and our grandchildren. So there has to be a more fundamental level of miraculous change. And I think what's happening now is that we are, all of us, you, I, anybody who would be watching this right now, anybody who is called to the kind of subjects we are, and this is an impulse that's arising from the deepest regions of humanity. I don't think it has any geographical center. It doesn't have any ethnic center. It's not coming from any one group. It's coming from somewhere deep inside where we are now co-creating a resonant field of alternative possibility. Now, some people call this the 100th monkey, the tipping point. What is that moment, that place? There's a lot of conversation about pi, which is interesting, that 3 point, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But I know that we don't even have the time to luxuriate in too much questioning about what it is. We have to go now. We have to be plugged in. Think of the universe as a house that is wired for electricity. Think of holiness, spirit, love, whatever words you want to use. The words are so insignificant, really. That's wired for electricity. The issue is that the lamp be plugged in. So it doesn't matter the color of the lamp or the shape of the lamp or the design of the lamp. What matters is that we be plugged in. And then just as the cells are appointed, cells are assigned. Some cells are assigned to the liver. Some cells are assigned to the heart. Some cells are assigned to the lungs. All of us are assigned. Some of us are assigned to the arts. Some of us, like you and I, are assigned to the transformational leadership world. Some people are assigned to sciences. Some people are assigned to business. All of us, to a certain extent, are assigned to global leadership. Some people are assigned to Europe. Some people are assigned to North America. Some people are assigned to Asia. Some people are assigned to Africa. The point is to honor our incarnation and know wherever we are and whatever we're doing, our purpose is to stand within that vortex as a possibility of an alternative by living that alternative ourselves, that we shall stand within the darkness of the world and make ourselves available to the light. So it's like there's no one broad brush that's going to fix everything, and no one of us as individuals, oh, we're going to wake up and we're going to heal global poverty and climate change and nuclear proliferation issues. But we can all be assigned the part that we can best play with our talents, with our resources, with our incarnational circumstances. And I think that's what's stepping up right now. we're all being called in our own way, according to our own internal guidance, how we can be part of the solution.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I totally agree. And so it's so important to have everyone engaged somehow doing exactly what they think they can do to contribute to changing the world into a better place. Having a purpose where you do something more than just work 40 hours a week for 40 years so you can get enough money and then hopefully become. Yeah, and it can be many things, right? I mean,
well, it's interesting what you said. You said a couple of things that I want to speak to. First of all, you said whatever we can do. From a Course in Miracles perspective, each of us has unlimited potential to play a part in the healing of the world. In fact, the Course in Miracles says that those people on the planet who have achieved the most, so think of all the great geniuses who have ever lived and live now, they have manifest a fraction of what each of us is capable of. So we want to start with that no matter what you're doing, you haven't even started. You haven't even put a dent in what you're capable of. And that's because all of us, the Course says all of us are special and none of us are special. Now the second thing is when you said whatever you think you can do. It's deeper than quote unquote whatever you think you can do. It's as you plug in through prayer and through meditation, through serious spiritual path, through real spiritual exercise, you are guided and your mind is illumined. You know, there is a term in traditional Christianity called the gifts of the Holy Spirit. It's a pretty fascinating concept because it's a concept that to the extent to which you surrender your life to be used by Spirit, certain talents and abilities arise that you didn't even have before. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, once my life gets together, I'll give it to Spirit to use for nice spiritual purposes. That's a very superficial plane of spiritual understanding and activism. But when we see the extent to which I live in the vertical of devotion and commitment and Spirit use me today, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? And what would you have me say and to whom? To dwell in any situation asking only to be a vessel of love. Then what happens is that our capacity on the horizontal plane of worldly circumstance is uplifted exponentially, and you find yourself with the insight you never even had before, intelligence you didn't have before, talents you didn't have before. So a much bigger game is going on here than just do whatever you think you can do. We don't even have time. If everybody just says, well, I'll do whatever I think I can do, we won't make it in time. It's too urgent a moment in human history for that.
No, I totally agree. We are in dire straits. We gotta shape up. Absolutely.
Yeah, we need a miracle now.
Yeah, we do, absolutely. Let's create one in November when you're here. Let's make a big
God specializes in that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
The issue isn't whether or not they are possible. The issue is whether or not we are available to be conduits for them. And the Course in Miracles says miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. So it's not like miracles are not possible in our lives or even natural. It's that through our own loveless thinking, we block them and deflect them.
Yeah.
That's why forgiveness is everything. To the extent to which I withdraw my attack thoughts and my judgment and my blame, to that extent miracles just occur. They're not consciously directed.
No, but something previously we talked about how separate the journey of the heart is to your mental capacities, but still I'm guessing that in order to get started on your spiritual journey, you need to use your mental capacities in order to prioritize and focus and get rid of the clutter and be in there, right? To get the meditation in your calendar, to prioritize it, to...
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So it's also...
Go to programs like the kind you produce.
Yeah.
Yes, because ideas, the Course says, ideas grow stronger when they're shared. So when we join with other people, that's a powerful way that we bolster our conviction, and conviction is everything. Conviction, the Course in Miracles says miracles arise from conviction. Now conviction is so powerful that people who are convicted behind hate can do great harm, just as people who are convicted behind love can work miracles.
Yeah.
We see that in the world, obviously.
Yeah, I usually say that personal development is a team effort.
Yes.
It's so much.
Yes, it's a team effort, and I believe, because when you're talking about something like the Course in Miracles, meditation, and so forth, it is a solitary activity. So I think it's a both and there.
It's just easier, isn't it? It's just easier when there's someone that you are like-minded with that can support you once it gets tough, right? Yeah. Once you
Yeah,
get
well, in personal growth, as in everything else, the fact something's easier may or may not mean it's better.
no, but people might give up. But anyway, listen. So I'm all for the whole idea of people getting engaged on their spiritual journey and finding that purpose where they feel they can contribute. But can you put a few words on what does it do for people to have a purpose?
Okay. So let's say you wake up in the morning, and we already talked about the importance of meditating and praying in the morning. Let's talk about what happens when you do not. So you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is you open the computer, you open the newspaper, you turn on television, turn on the radio, and you allow your mind, and morning is very important, because that's when you're most open to receive new impressions.
Right. So
you just let the assault of the modern world in. And before you even leave the house in the morning, you're already aware of what's going on with Syrian refugees. You're already aware of what's going on in Afghanistan. You're already aware of what's going on with nuclear proliferation. You're so inundated by it that you are emotionally at the effect of the craziness of the world. Your day will unfold one way. If, on the other hand, you have meditated and you have actually closed your eyes and you think about everywhere you're going to be today, you think about your employer, you think about your employees, you think about your clients, you think about your associates, you think about the people that you know you're going to meet today, and you think about people that you don't even know you're going to meet today because you haven't met them yet. And you blast them with love. You just send them love. And you do this for a minimum of 5 minutes. This is not symbolic. This is not just metaphor. It's just like when someone is a professional athlete and the coach has them actually see the movement, you see the jump before they make the jump. The Olympic level coach has you see the dive before you make the dive. It's the same thing. Your subconscious mind is so powerful that the subconscious mind is always, in every fraction of an instant, picking out elements to focus on. So if I blast everybody with love before I even go, I am literally creating a field of possibility or probability. No, the possibility is always there. But I am choosing to dwell within a kind of nutrient soup of probability, much higher probability, that people will like me. First of all minds are joined. All minds are joined. Once you know that everybody subconsciously knows everything. If you walk into a room and you're filled with negativity and you thought before you went into the room how much you don't like the people in there, they will not like you. They will not know why they don't like you. They'll just not have a good feeling about you. If, on the other hand, you've blessed everybody before you even go in, people are going to be like, I don't know, I like that guy. I don't even know why, I like that guy. Because in every moment we're giving signals. It's the way it's deeper than just the way you act or just what you say. It's the entire energy that you put out. Once again, with your thoughts, you determine the entire realm of emotional and psychological and material circumstances that more probably unfold for you.
Oh, that was very powerful. So I really I'm going to try that. You know, I do meditate, but that whole thing about being.
If I approach this, what we're doing here right now, oh, I'm busy today. I have to do that with those people in Copenhagen. God, I've never even met that guy. I don't even know who these people are. I mean, my mind could go there. I would be a different person on this webinar or whatever, right? It's a mental discipline to show up wherever you are, doing your best, offering your best, and it's just it's a whole different set of probable futures.
Wow, I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I'm gonna send out. I like that. We're gonna test that at Elevate. That's I love it.
I like what I'm getting, so.
That's good. That's great. All right, so maybe if it's okay, I'm asking Marianne. Would you mind sharing maybe with me and the audience a little bit about what your own life purposes are? What do you hope to accomplish and change while you are at this planet?
Well, I have two levels on which to answer that. The Course in Miracles really trains us to get over yourself. And the Course in Miracles says all of the children of God are special and none of the children of God are special. You know, we go to so many of these seminars today where people say, remember, you're unique and nobody can do what you can do and blah, blah, blah. The Course in Miracles is very different. The Course is like, you're really no big deal. You're just like everybody else. You hurt like everybody else. You're wounded like everybody else. You love like everybody else. You want to be loved like everyone else. So the Course doesn't, it says that anytime you are identifying an aspect of yourself that is not the same as everyone else, then you're not talking about your deepest self. For instance, you're Danish, I'm American. By definition, that's not the deepest level of our identity because it is not an identity we share. You're a man, I'm a woman. That is by definition not the deepest level of our identity because it's not the identity we share. So when it comes to purpose, my purpose is no different than yours or anyone else's. Our purpose is to be used as conduits of love. Just like the cell's purpose is to collaborate with other cells to serve the healthy functioning of the whole. Now, in terms of my own individual life, on that level, I would say the answer is that I would like, what I think of in terms of my life at this point, is to maximize whatever contribution I can make in the time that I have left on this earth. You know, I've been around for a while.
Hopefully you'll be around for a lot longer.
So you get to an age where you start to think in terms of cleaning up the campsite.
Can you repeat that again, sorry?
You get to an age in life, I think around the 50s, where you start to think in terms of cleaning up the campsite. You know, I think that's not macabre. I think that's, you know, part of life passage.
I have a few years to go then. A few.
Well, good for you.
Only a few. Thank you.
Not all of us do that.
Okay, that's great. So, again, I love the fact that you share the daily routines about meditating and praying, and I really want to try to see if we could give the audience here a few more tips and tricks as to how they can, what they can do maybe on a day-to-day basis. You know, it's very much about the little things you do consistently that will make the big impact in the long run, right? I mean, which things could you suggest that people start doing? I love the sending out the love in the morning. I love it. The meditation, I love it. Can you come up with
At the end of the day, you might want to go through your day and ask yourself, how did I do? In this interaction or that interaction, when I met this person, when I wrote an email to that person, how was I? Was I my highest level of wisdom and compassion? Was I as kind as I could have been? Was I forgiving? Or was I cynical? Was I snarky? Was I sarcastic? Was I withholding? And you realize that the universe is intentional. And that's that the Course in Miracles says it is not up to you what you learn, but merely up to you whether you learn through joy or through pain. Every single circumstance was an opportunity. Where I got, and it's a repeat of something that happened before. How'd you do? If you were good at it before, were you even better this time? The issue is, we don't always get it right. We all get triggered. We all have our wounds. So you say, where do I need to atone for my behavior, take responsibility for the fact it was not perfect, atone in my mind. Sometimes that means writing an email or making a call of apology. Sometimes it means going back to a person or a situation, trying to clean it up, do a little better. So you begin to see every moment and every circumstance as an opportunity. But unless you ground yourself through serious spiritual path, it's just like yoga. It's just like going to the gym. You can't just think about it. You have to do it. You are training your attitudinal muscles. Now, that means you need to find a path. My path, obviously, I'm a student of the Course in Miracles. Some people find their path in Buddhism. Some people find it through the Kabbalah in Judaism. Some people find it through a kind of mystical Christianity or even a traditional one. Some people, whatever. Now, there are people listening right now who know their path and are already working it. There are other people who kind of know your path, but they know I haven't really been doing it. It's like you pay the dues at the gym, but you don't go. And then there are other people who go, I don't really know what that would be for me. I haven't found one that's perfect for me. For that person, I promise you, if they say a little prayer right now, Spirit, send me my path, books will start falling at your feet. Things will just start happening, because we are living at a time where there's a proliferation of spiritual material as there has never been on the planet before. You know, it's a mainstream impulse now. So nobody can say, I don't know, you know, as long as you've got the internet, you've got a bookstore, you've got a library, and for those of you in Copenhagen, I don't know how many people are from Copenhagen. Copenhagen's a world-class city. I can only imagine how many lectures and classes and meditation groups and all of that there are. So nobody can say, oh, I can't find it. Not today.
No excuse. You cannot be ignorant. True.
Yeah, it's like saying there's no gym. Yeah, there's a gym somewhere.
No, but I totally agree with you. It's you know, as many, you know, knowledge is not power. You know, it's not. Knowledge is the potential power.
I think that's very good. Well said. Yeah.
If applied, yeah.
It says enlightenment begins as abstract concept. Well, we pretty much all have the abstract concepts now. This is not 1995. We've all read the same books. We've all listened to the same tapes now. Now we're coming together, even at the kind of seminars that you put on. At this point, many people are coming not really to hear something they don't already know, but we're coming together to access more deeply the things which by now we do already know, so that we can go out into our lives and exercise power in a way that we would not if it was just simply abstract understanding, which is what you just said.
Thank you very much. So, so you'll be coming to so you've actually been to Copenhagen.
I came as a child with my family because my parents were travelers, and then I had been another time when my book Return to Love came out.
That was like in '92.
Well, I would have been in. It would have been in the '90s that I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So but am I right when I say to my crowd that you have not been speaking in Denmark before?
I have not been speaking what?
In Denmark before.
No, I did. I spoke back in the '90s when my book came out. I did.
You did actually do speak.
I mean, it was, what, like 20 years ago? So.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a while ago. Yeah. That was a good book, by the way. Yeah. How do you? By the way, how do you? Is it 12 or 13 books you wrote? Sorry.
No. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is 12. But you know, does that count a children's book, or you know? So you could say 12. And by the way, it's 6 New York Times bestsellers. It's not 7. So just.
Oh. Okay. Still good. Still good. How do you find inspiration to write that many bestsellers? Because I mean, these are not just, you know, ordinary books.
You know when you're writing a book if it's going to be a bestseller. So you can't be inspired to write a bestseller, but you can be inspired to tell your story as best you can. And the inspiration is that hopefully it would help somebody. In terms of the inspiration to actually try to live, you know, I always say when I practice what I preach, my life works really well. There are objective discernible laws of internal phenomena, just like there are objective discernible laws of external phenomena. You simply know the law of gravity. It's not that you have faith in the law of gravity, you simply know it. And the law of consciousness is what I put out is what I will then experience. And I've experienced suffering in my life, as we all have. I've messed up in my life, as we all have. I have self-sabotaged, as we all have. And I think that more than anything else is my biggest inspiration to try to get it right. I don't want to blow it today. I don't want to feel the anxiety of a messed up relationship today. I don't want to feel guilt about this or that today. I think that inspires me. My fear of that woman in my head who has not meditated today, who has not chosen to forgive, I don't want her running things. Because I know, you know, how powerful the mind is. The issue isn't how powerful anybody's mind is. The issue is how we manage our power. And I've been in those valleys, and I know how many of them were self-created. And so, and I know You know, your ego doesn't say, hi, I'm your self-hatred. It introduces itself as your self-love. I know how sly the mind can be. So I want to meditate and prepare myself in the morning because I don't want to hurt myself or others emotionally or psychologically. I don't want to. I've been there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As you, I apply meditation, and I like it a lot. I don't get to do it every day, unfortunately. I wish I did, and in periods I do, and sometimes I do it very much. Do you think that do you think you can overdo it? Do you think you can overdo meditation?
You know, one of the things that the Course in Miracles trains us to do is to refrain from monitoring anybody else's path. I don't know how much somebody else is supposed to meditate. You know, it's like, so not my business. I know, I know as a Course in Miracles student, the workbook of the Course is very specific about the amount of time, and there's a certain place in the Course where it says 30 minutes or longer, however you feel moved. In Transcendental Meditation, it's that 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. So how do I know? I mean, there are people, obviously monks in monasteries around the world who basically stay all day. Maybe that's their karmic role. It's not for me to know.
Good.
I know you can do it too little. I don't know if you can do it too much, but I know you can do it too little. And I think also, I don't know how it is with you and your audience, but I hear a lot of people talk about meditation, but then when they describe what they do, it's actually just deep relaxation. All meditation is deeply relaxing, but not all deep relaxation is meditation. That's why having an actual mantra, which in the Course in Miracles is the daily exercise, it's much bigger than just breathing deeply and sitting comfortably in a chair. That's a good idea, but that of itself doesn't actually change your brainwave patterns, and that's what an actual technique of meditation does.
I look forward to meditating with you in November, Marianne. I have one of the other speakers on, by the way, on a program that I'm really, really excited about. Other than you, there are 7 other really, really great speakers. One of them is Danish. He's Henning. He's our #1 meditational expert, or guru, if you wish. And he's going to be there for the entire period, and he's going to meditate with us throughout these 3 days.
Wow. Very big deal.
I hope so. I hope so. Absolutely.
I guess so. That's great, actually.
Yeah. I want to round up this session again by expressing my gratitude that you're coming. I really am glad, and I will make sure that you have a great time the second time you're in. Actually, the third time you are in Copenhagen. We have there will be 1,000 people from mainly the Nordic region there to greet you when you will arrive, and thanks for looking in tonight. It was great talking to you, Marianne, and I will be seeing you in about a month's time or so.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to invite all of your listeners to visit my website at marianne.com. I have a lot of great stuff coming up. My Monday night live streams are free. I'm doing a marvelous women's seminar called the Aphrodite Training that people can live stream. So I hope that people will check out all the various offerings, and then I look forward to actually being there in the flesh with you. Thank you for inviting me, and I wish you and your program and all of your listeners the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.